What's going on, my fellow Jedi and Padawans? Welcome back to another Jedi gaming video. Thank you guys so much for coming back to the channel, and if you guys are new, welcome. Today we're going to be talking about a sleeper auto rifle that I really have not heard too many people talking about, but it comes from our Vanguard and our Commander Zavala going through strikes, etc. But we're talking about the origin story. This is a precision frame kinetic auto rifle. We got ourselves two different origin traits on this bad boy, but I think it is a sleeper auto rifle and feels good in both PvE as well as PvP. First off though, we got ourselves that origin traits. We got Vanguard's Vindication. We got ourselves those final blows grant a small amount of health, 10 health on each of those defeats, so not too crazy of a perk, but it comes with all of our Vanguard weapons. Nadir focus is our second origin trait. Sustained fire increases accuracy and range, increases run distance for swords, projectiles for launch. So for us, we're getting that range and accuracy. Feels good, really good in the Crucible, and feels pretty good inside of the PvE realm as well. PvP, we're gonna go with the good old small bore with a reload masterwork, 7 in stability, 7 in range for this bad boy, giving it just kind of the jack of all trades, if you will, building it out for all of our stats to be very even. Like I said, since this is a pretty balanced weapon already, went with a pendant mag right here, +5 in the magazine. Feels the best in my personal opinion for this second column. Nothing else really speaks to me. Now, the perk pool for this weapon is kind of disgusting. There's about 10 to 12, if not even more perks in each of the third and fourth column that you can snag on this bad boy, so we're gonna cover about 3 or 4 in each of these columns, but I'll let you know what I think is my favorite either way. First off, we got Demolitionist in this third column. Definitely a PvE staple. Defeats with the weapon give us grenade energy. When we throw our grenade, we actually reload the weapon, so pretty juicy in my personal opinion. Like I said, a staple in the PvE realm. Attrition orbs is another option. Attrition orbs gives us orbs of power when we do sustained damage, so another pretty good PvE perk because orbs of power are used for so much, of course, giving us our super, giving us armor charge. We can get back our abilities with it. There's just a lot that we can do with them, so attrition is a very good option. Last for this column for our 3 choices is strategist. Final blows with this weapon generate class ability. Activating our class ability gives ourselves some stability, so not a bad choice because class ability, no matter what class you play, your rift, your barricade, or your dodge are all good for the PvE realm, keeping you alive, blocking damage, reloading weapons, etc. So a very good option. Like I said, we have a lot of them, so out of the 3 that I said, I would probably go with attrition orbs as number 1, and then demolitionist as number 2, strategist as number 3, but demo strategist can kind of bop back and forth between that second and third spot. So fourth column, like I said, there is a lot of options, so if you're looking for something else, definitely go look up the list, but this is my top 3, I think, for the PvE realm. We got ourselves surrounded. This weapon gains bonus damage when 3 or more enemies are in close proximity, so a very good damage boost that we can get with 40% increase in damage when we're surrounded by this bad boy. Definitely very good when you are in that onslaught mode. Even Tomb of Elders, anything where there's a lot of ads going on, surrounded is a very good choice. Our second choice is target lock. Damage increases the longer that this weapon remains on target. Not a bad option if you're using it for the damage side of things with this weapon against bosses, champions, whatever it may be, but we do have one that takes the top of the list in my personal opinion. The top of the list for me is definitely kinetic tremors. Sustained kinetic damage to a target emits a shockwave that damages nearby targets. This is easily the best for me, both damage wise, I would say overall because you don't have to worry as much about missing shots like you do with target lock, where it'll totally tank the damage. Plus you can get a little ad clear on those bosses, champions, stuff like that. So for me, I would probably throw kinetic tremors. I actually for sure would throw kinetic tremors at my number one option, with again interchangeable between 2 and 3 with target lock and surrounded, almost both situational depending on if you're looking for a little bit more damage, depending on if there is a little bit more ads, so you can put those back and forth. But kinetic tremors definitely the number one choice. Would say that probably overall for me, I would probably throw this thing at like a 4.2 4.3 for the PvE realm. Got a lot of different perks. Like I said, if you're doing something like attrition orbs with kinetic tremors, might even get up a little bit higher into that high A tier, but overall very good weapon for the PvE side of the game. PvP side of this thing, like I said, a sleeper. I was melt guardians with this in a couple different situations, but like I said, we got ourselves a small bore, 7 range, 7 stability with a range masterwork, trying to get this thing as high in range as we can, with obviously having that stability not get tanked as well. That means that in our second column right here for our magazine, we're gonna have our ricochet rounds with that +5 in range, +10 to stability. Like I said, helping us to get both of those up into as high as possible that we can do. With that being said, 81 in range, 60 in that stability. We got ourselves Zen Moment in the third column as my first option. Causing damage with this weapon reduces recoil and flinch over time. Very good for the Crucible realm in my personal opinion. Definitely is a goated perk, but like I said, again, I'll give you 3 options and then kind of rate how I would put them as my option. Second option in the third column is the good old keep away trait. We got ourselves increased reload range accuracy when no targets are in close proximity, so you can read what we're getting in the community research. But this thing definitely a staple of like pulse rifles and even these auto rifles, especially if you can build it out like this is with 81 range, is super disgusting in my personal opinion. So I think that this is definitely the number one choice. Dynamic sway reduction improves accuracy stability when you continuously hold down the trigger, so also a very good option, just like we had with Zen Moment. So kind of interchangeable between dynamic sway and Zen Moment as our second options. Like I said, personally, keep away is my favorite for the Crucible with this weapon, but dynamic sway, Zen Moment, very close, like a half step behind. Moving on to that fourth column where Onslaught and keep away with this is super disgusting, my personal opinion, especially if you can get it stacked up to ×3 with that 37% fire rate increase. Is so fast, and you are melting guardians with this weapon. Absolutely melting guardians with Onslaught. I think that it's, for me, my favorite choice, but that's my personal opinion. Target lock might be better overall, but Onslaught is so much more fun. I'm gonna throw this as our last option, or our bottom option I should say, as Eye of the Storm. This weapon becomes more accurate and boost handling as our health gets lower. Not a bad option, a PvP staple definitely for stuff like hand cannons with it, but the Eye of the Storm on this, there's better options with for sure target lock and Onslaught in my opinion, but as a staple in the Crucible, definitely Eye of the Storm is a good option. Like I said, our last option is that target lock. Damaging increases the longer you remain on the target, so pretty good in my personal opinion with this weapon, because we can get that to melt guardians as well, just because target lock, a very good staple on stuff like SMG's auto rifle, where you're constantly putting damage out on those enemies. But like I said, I personally like Onslaught as the number one choice, with target lock as the second choice, and then our last choice being the trusty dusty classic in Eye of the Storm. So up to you, but overall I think I would probably give this thing a sleeper. Hear me out, don't judge me, let me know what you think. 4.7 out of 5 for the Crucible. I was loving this thing with Keep Away Onslaught was the roll that I had on it. Didn't even have ricochet rounds, and that in top of it, having that 81 range, 60 stability. Oh, it is so much fun in my personal opinion. Very, very good weapon. Like I said, absolute sleeper for both PvP as well as PvE. So again, you guys need to go grind out those strikes on like a double reward week and get yourself the god roll of this origin story little weapon that we just kind of goes by the way. People forget about it because it's one of our weapons from one of our core activities, but the bygones became hot in the Crucible, and I think that this should also be a very good weapon for both PvP, PvE. So go grind it out, Guardians, as well. Don't be afraid to like and subscribe to the channel. Hit that bell if you haven't so you guys can get those notifications on god rolls as well as builds that we put out. Helps me out, helps the algo out, helps you guys out as well. So really appreciate it. I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.